Hey everyone, we start with the Bitcoin. I want to give a quick update. We didn't have the update for quite a long time because we have been the market was moving within the correction. Anyway, we start to give update from this week and now want to see whether this is the start of the uptrend or still we will be within the correction. Anyway, first of all, if we refer to my last analysis when the price was within here, I discussed about the internal correction, the possibility for the next drop as what we expected, exactly as what we expected happen, and this is the what we get as a reversal. Now the question is whether we can expect this is the start of the uptrend with the breakout of this correction, or we can expect this one turn to a more complex correction. First of all, there was opportunity to look for buy based on lower time frame. Whoever get the trade for buy from here, they should book some profit. And now we want to see what's the next, whether we can look at this one as a daily correction for continuation or not. Okay. Anyway, we start with higher time frame. We want to see what we have been looking for. As I mentioned, still we are trading within the correction. And if we refer to our analysis, we have been looking at this one. And with the breakout of the 69, we mentioned as if there is a continuation, we're looking for at least 400, flowing by 111K. All right. And now there is not no much different. As I mentioned, based on daily chart, we are within the daily correction. This is what we can see here based on monthly chart. We want to see the breakout of this correction, and based on weekly, similar explanation. Okay. Anyway, we can look for buy based on lower time frame, either weekly or forward chart, but we should consider we are trading within this correction. That's why if we get any opportunity for buy from here, also we'll take it. Then we want to see what's the risk and reward, and we want to see whether we can expect the breakout of this time, the previous top somewhere around 73K or not. Okay. And at this point, based on daily chart, I don't see any trade setup. Mostly we have to look for the trade based on lower time frame. We don't need these lines anymore. But with the break based on daily chart, we're looking with the breakout of the 73 or 74, 73 700 or 74. We're looking for 77 following by 88. This is the we have to see the breakout of this zone, and the targets we are looking for is 100 and 111 at least. Okay. And as I mentioned, there is not much different. Still, we are trading within the correction. And if you move to lower time frame, I don't see any trade setup, even based on forward chart, if anyone wants to look for the trade setup. And if you move to 1 hour chart, the only option is to put a warrant tree above here. Rather than that, I don't see any trade setup. If we get the next drop, then we can move warrant tree from here to this top. But at this point, we cannot put a warrant tree above here. As I mentioned, still the way is moving is really corrective move, and we want to see whether the price can break the daily correction or not. By the way, as I mentioned, from this week, I try to give at least the update in a week, once in a week, or the weekly update. Then hopefully within the next a few months, we will see the changes or the different, or we see at least we can expect to see the breakout of the daily correction. All right. Anyway, the update is whoever get the trade for buy, as what I explained based on daily chart, they need to book some profit. And at this point, I don't see any trade setup, and the possibility for the next drop and this one turn to internal correction is really high. And if we move to ETA, similar explanation. And even when the price was, after we get this sharp move, when the price was within here, I mentioned about the next drop. That's why we come up with these lines. And exactly the price dropped to somewhere around 2816, as what we can see if we refer to my last analysis, which was the previous low. And this is what we get. And at this point, as what we explained based on Bitcoin, we're looking at this correction. Any opportunity for buy based on lower time frame, we'll take it. By the way, if we move to higher time frame, based on monthly with the breakout of the all-time high, we have been looking for 6.1 following by 7.8, but at this point we have to see whether the price can tag or break the all-time high or not. And if we move to weekly chart, similar explanation, no much different. We have to see the breakout of this correction. That's why we move to lower time frame. If we move to daily chart, as I mentioned, at this point, I'm looking at this correction. If I get any opportunity for buy based on lower time frame, I will take it. Then whether we have the trade setup, if we move to forward chart, I don't see any trade setup. Okay, you know, want to see whether the price can't break the lowest price of this correction, which is somewhere around 3360 or not. That's why based on forward chart for me, I don't see any trade setup. And if I move to 1 hour chart, similar explanation. The only thing is we put the entry above the previous top. And in that case, having entry above here, I'm not interested. And even if anyone wants to put entry above this top, then we're putting entry above the correction. That's why even for me, it's not an option to look for the trade. That's why I prefer to wait. And if we move to XRP, as what I explained in my last analysis, every time I mention the possibility for the price to drop somewhere around 42 or 41 cent, that's why I mentioned I'm expecting the price in my last analysis. I mentioned that I'm expecting the price drop to somewhere around 42 or 41. Then if it's happened, if I then I will be interested to look for buy. As that what we are expected has happened, and this is what we get. That's why I mentioned that we can expect for the XRP for the price to drop to 42 cent. And if we move to the monthly chart, we don't see any, we don't have anything to discuss. And if we move to weekly chart, similar explanation. Now, the price retest this low, which is somewhere around 41 cent. That's why this is what we have been looking for. And now we want to see whether we can consider as this one as a correction for the reversal. This is what we are looking for. Okay, that's why if we get any opportunity for buy from now, we will take it, but simply we cannot take the trade. Okay, we want to see whether we can get the daily correction or not. But what we have been looking for, which was a 41 or 42, we get. And anyway, if there is a continuation, the most important level, as what I explained my analysis since the price was within here, was breakout of the 94 cent. One times the price tagged the 94, but there was no breakout. No one see whether we can expect this move or not. That's mean the breakout of the 94 with the expectation for the previous top, which is somewhere around 2.0. If we want to see the breakout of the 2.0 first, we have to see the breakout of the 94 cent. This is very important for us. Anyway, I don't see any trade setup at this point, even if we move to daily chart, and based on daily chart, we want to see whether this is the daily correction. If it's happened, then the next move, it can give us a really good trade setup. That's why at this point, simply we cannot take the trade because we can expect the next drop and even the price drop to 41 cent. That's why we have to look for the trade setup based on daily chart. I don't see any trade setup. And if I move to forward chart, the only times we can look for the trade if we get the flag. I don't see any trade setup. That's mean, at this point, I don't see any trade setup. And if I move to forward chart, if anyone wants to look for the entry, the only option is to put the entry either above here or here. Mostly, we prefer to put the entry above here. Having entry above here, it can be an option, but for me, I'm not really interested. That's why for me, I'm looking for the reversal as a sharp move flag because we can expect this one continue and drop before we see the reversal. That's why simply we cannot take the trade. That's mean mostly we don't see any trade setup at this point and we have to wait to confirm with the daily correction. And if we move to ADA, we start with the higher time frame. We don't say anything. We want to, mostly depends on the Bitcoin, the overall market, but we have been looking to see the breakout of the 94, 92 following by 1.35. And how about if you move the lower time frame? I don't see anything based on weekly chart. That's mean there is no trade setup. If we move to lower time frame, based on daily chart, similar explanation like what we have based for Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP. We want to confirm with this one. Simply, we cannot take the trade, but we have to wait for the confirmation for the trade setup. If this one turns to a daily correction, then we can look for the trade, and we want to see the breakout of this one. But at this point, we have to wait. And how about if I move to forward chart? The possibility for the one more drop, that's mean this one turn to a correction for the next drop is very high. Okay, that's mean I don't see any trade setup at this point. I'm not really interested. And if I move to 1 hour chart, similar explanation. I don't see any trade setup. And how about if we move to the Dogecoin? All right, we have been looking to see the breakout of the 22, the price tag. There was no continuation because with the breakout of the 22, we have been looking for the 31 cent. And I don't see any trade setup. The price dropped quite a lot, and the possibility for the price to drop somewhere, the retest the previous low, which is somewhere around 5 or 6 cents, is very high. That's why if anyone wants to look for buy, they have to wait for the confirmation. And if I move to daily chart, similar explanation for the other charts. We want to see if this one turned to daily correction, that doesn't mean the price stay within this correction. And then any opportunity for buy will be the best. But if the prices start to drop as a corrective, then we have to wait. That means we will be within this correction for the longer time. Okay. And I don't see any trade setup again. And even based on the forward chart, we can expect for the price to give at least one more drop. And if we get one more drop, then we can put a one trip off here. But at this point, I don't see any trade setup. Again, most of the chart, they have the similar movement. Okay, that's why we prefer to wait for the trade setup. Anyway, we move to Bitcoin, and as I mentioned, most of the chart again they have the similar movement, and mostly we looking for this correction, which is we have the daily correction for Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, ADN, and Dogecoin. That's why we should look at this daily correction. If we conform with the daily correction, that means if we get any opportunity for buy based on lower time frame, then we will take it. Okay, then we want to see what's the next. Because if this one based on Bitcoin, for the Bitcoin conform with the daily correction, and if they start to move, then mostly we can expect the price to see the breakout of this correction. If it's happened, then we're looking for continuation. Okay, and at this point we have to wait. In this case, we just follow the chart, and if I see any update, any trade setup, then I will share. Thanks.